Welcome to another video. My name is Tanner Planis, and a couple of years ago, I decided to take the bold step and change the typical physical dropshipping model and try something new. And that's when I introduced digital dropshipping, and it's something that even to this day is making me profits every single day. And the reason is because these products don't have to be shipped. They don't have a supplier that I have to pay every time I make a sale. And that's because they are digital products. As soon as someone purchases one of these products from a store, they will receive it immediately. And in this video right now, I'm going to be revealing how to sell digital products without showing your face and without having to spend any money on ads. And this is through a TikTok organic strategy, which I'm going to be showing you in full right now. So let's hop onto my computer. Before we can actually start posting, we need to build a foundation, which in this case is going to be creating the account. And creating the account is more than just making one and then putting a random username, logo, and bio. There's actually a science behind it. So listen carefully here. With this strategy I'll be sharing in this video, you want to target a United States-based audience. And since TikTok is a location-based platform, you'll have to know some tricks on how to do this if you're living outside the United States. So here are the steps for creating the new account, the new foundation. First thing you want to do, wherever you live, is choose an email that you've never used to open a TikTok account. And once you've done that, if you're in the United States, you can just go ahead and open a new account, but leave it blank for right now. And if you're outside of the United States, listen to what I'm saying. Here's what you want to do. You want to find a device that you no longer use. It could be an iPad, an Android phone, an iPhone, something that could download the TikTok app. And once you find this device, I want you to factory reset it. And then once it turns back on, get a paid VPN service that can connect you to somewhere in the United States. And once you do that is then when you could download the TikTok app and then create your new account. But only ever open the TikTok app when you are connected to this VPN service. And once you've opened your new account, just leave it right now. Don't turn it into a business account. Don't sync it with contacts or anything like that. Pretty simple, right? Well, now we can get into step number 2, which is just setting up some things. And it's easy once you know the framework because there's just 3 things we need to do here right now, which is setting up the username, profile picture, and bio. So for usernames, I like to use a simple framework with ChatGPT. So essentially what I can do is take my idea, turn that into a prompt, and then go to ChatGPT and refine the results. If this is your first time watching a video of mine, you might not be aware that this is the 3rd part of a series I've been doing on digital dropshipping. And one thing we've done in a prior video is gone over choosing a niche. So for example, in this prompt, I could say I'm creating a TikTok page that creates content around the topic of femme fatale, or women that want to attract men, and give me 10 short username ideas. And whenever I put a prompt in like this, and same for you, you will get answers like this. And out of these, usually they aren't going to be perfect, or these might not all be available on TikTok as a username, but we can easily just choose one of these that we think best fits our niche idea. And in this case, I would choose out of these 10, seductive siren seems to be the best. And while you're still on ChatGPT, might as well go ahead and create the bio using a similar prompt. And the bios for a page like this using this strategy pretty much are just relating to the ideal outcome character. So in this example, this is a niche for women that want to attract men. I'm going to say, write 5 short 1-sentence lines that describes femme fatale woman. And this prompt tends to generate sentences that say, the subject, like femme fatale woman, are the blank, blank, blank. But how I like to structure the bios is short 1 sentences that is like a do statement, like it's an absolute statement. So instead of are the embodiment of power and allure, say femme fatale woman embody power and allure. After changing that, it becomes an absolute statement. So just choose one of these, narrow it down, and that'll give you a nice bio. It's just meant to relate to the ideal outcome of your viewers. Now, making the profile picture is a fun part, and it's important right now in this strategy that you use a profile picture that includes a person in it, because it creates relatability and increases engagement versus just having a logo with text like most people like to do for their stores. And since it's a faceless content page, the strategy is all anonymous, we'll use Midjourney to create our profile picture. So in this case, sticking to the femme fatale niche example, I put this prompt right here. I went over to Midjourney, which if you don't know what it is, it's an AI tool that you can use where you put in prompts and it can give you a specific image result. I said, femme fatale woman, looking to the side, comma, open room with seductive colors, comma, light shining on her, comma, scene. And that's the prompt, just explaining what I'm trying to accomplish. And once I did that, I then got 4 different images like Midjourney does. It gave me 4 different options based on that prompt. And out of those, I chose one that you can see kind of in the background right here. You're gonna have to use your own discretion to choose which one you think is going to be the best. But the reason why I said looking to the side is because usually in a profile picture, I'll put looking to the side because it kind of just adds, more contrast where I can add the text over and it's not going to be super interfering. Because if I just have a picture where it's a face like looking directly like at the camera right now, and I want to put text over it, it can become a little bit more messy because there's a lot of different shapes and angles versus when the face is turned to the side, now it's more of a smoother surface. So it's not as, difficult on the eyes, I guess I should say. So now I want to explain how did I get to this point right here as, a final profile picture. Well, what I did was I downloaded the picture off of Midjourney that I liked the most. And then what I did was brought that picture over to a Canva project, put it here in a square. And then what I did is I clicked edit photo, turned down the brightness so it's a little bit darker because I'm going to be putting text over it. So I want that to easily, be distinct. It's separated and it can easily be read. If the colors are all bright, then it's going to be hard to read. And once I made that darker, I then went and added a heading text and just left it white, added a drop shadow, and then I needed to figure out what font I wanted to use. Now, some people will just choose one and go with it. Some will get stuck on this and spend a bunch of time. I can definitely be sometimes the type of person to get very picky with it. And with this one, I spent maybe 2 minutes just going through fonts, looking for something, and I felt okay. This one kind of fits the vibe. If I was doing seductive sirens and it's about femme fatale women, I'm probably not going to be using a big bubbly Clifford the Big Red Dog type of font. I'm going to use something that's, a little bit cleaner, it's easier on the eyes, and maybe has a little bit of a seductive feeling. It makes me feel some type of way. So here I just kind of put in text, what I actually did and just explained where I generated the image with the prompt, chose one of the images, put it here on a new project on Canva, lowered the brightness, and then added the text and drop shadow. And now I have this image, which is ready to be my profile picture. So at this point, now you should have your username, profile picture, and bio. Now, step number 3 is warming up the account. Because we're not just going to start blasting posts out of nowhere. That's not how this strategy works. And it's the same thing as a car. It actually surprised me. Most people don't know about this, but you're not supposed to just start a car and immediately put it into reverse, back out, and then start driving. Especially in performance cars. If I'm going to drive my car, I can't just start it and start revving it so I can hear it because it sounds amazing. I have to start it, let the RPMs drop to the normal idle, and then I can drive it easy until the oil temperature is high enough to start driving it hard. You have to take care of your car, and you want the oil temperature to be warm enough so that then you can operate it properly without hurting anything. Because when things are cold, they contract. When things are hot, they expand. And in a car, there are a lot of materials where that stuff is happening. So this same concept applies to your TikTok account. You want to spend a few days just proving to TikTok that you are not a bot account that's just going to be spamming posts. And you want to treat it for a couple days like it's a consumer account. You want to watch some posts, engage on them, like, comment, and just use it like a consumer does, which, you probably already use TikTok, honestly. And what you may notice, what some people are noticing right now, is that when doing this process, TikTok won't let you follow people. And that is fine. Don't make a new account. Don't think that something is wrong. Just keep that same account. And usually after a few days of using it, don't switch back to your personal account. Just use this one. Then TikTok will be like, okay, this is a real person. They're actually using the account. And now you have this first 30-day window, which we've also seen, where TikTok is going to be more willing to push your posts in this new 30-day period of your account being opened versus if it's just been around for a very long time. And now step number 4, you have an account, you have the profile picture, you have the bio, you have the username, it's warmed up, but how do I know what to post? So let's talk about that now. This is going to be a very, very important part because there are 2 different types of posts on TikTok. You have slideshows and then you have videos. And when you're first starting out, slideshows are going to be what you use. And right now, I want to literally just break your mind on everything that you've ever believed up to this very point about making sales with faceless organic content. So one of the biggest misconceptions is that the visual content is the most important part of a post. But the reality is that the most important part of a post is the script behind it. It's not about just the image or the actual video that's being shown. It's about the script. And you'll learn more about that here in a minute. Another big misconception is that immediately I need to start selling on my post. But the reality is you need to learn how to communicate before you can actually sell. And every post that you make should have a purpose. And one of those is not to sell, at least at this point where we are right now. Your overarching main objective in the beginning is to treat this account like a theme page and to have each post figure out one of these things about your viewers. We want to figure out what's triggering them, what makes them come alive, what are the beliefs they will defend, what makes them argue, and what kind of content brings them the most value. Because once we figure these things out, we then have the framework to be able to hook and trigger them, resonate with them, support what they believe in, make them argue, and create enough value to sell. And the way you figure out how to do one of these things, like figuring out what's triggering your viewers, is by creating a winning script to do so. And a winning script isn't just defined as a script that gets you a million views or it makes you sales. A winning script is just something that gets people to watch more of your post than another one. So maybe you make two posts. One gets 1,000 views, one gets 10,000 views. We can define that 10,000 view post that it has a winning script because it performed better. And on an even deeper level, we're trying to figure out these things right here. So let's say again, for example, my page is about the femme fatale women that want to seduce men. That's the niche I'm in. It's a pain point category, and the audience is a group of highly motivated people, these women. And in your audience, there are three different types that you need to think about. You're gonna have the doubters, the supporters, and then the buyers. And another way to think about this is just to actually break down these types of viewers based upon your niche. So in this niche, for women that want to seduce men, the femme fatale, the doubters are probably going to be more so like conservative women. The supporters are probably going to be confident and open-minded women. And then the buyers are proactive and motivated women who are working towards this femme fatale thing. So now with this information, I have an idea for a script that could trigger my viewers. Example, why some women hesitate to embrace their femme fatale side. So immediately this hook is going to attract and engage the female viewers who are even just somewhat curious about this femme fatale stuff, but have reservations about it. And when you're making a script with the objective of figuring out what's triggering the viewers, most of the time what you're going to be doing is reaching your audience of doubters more than anyone. So this type of post usually isn't going to get you the most follows, the most shares. Value posts do more of that, and relatable posts. But a triggering one is just teaching you exactly how to attract that audience of doubters, because doubters eventually turn into supporters and then buyers. So if this example hook ends up going viral, now I know how to hook and trigger my doubters and attract more and more and continue to do it over again. But to really prove that this is triggering my viewers, we need to complete the script with content that is not commonly agreeable on. And ever since I started digital dropshipping, one of the biggest questions has been what we're talking about right now, how to make faceless content that goes viral and makes sales. So over the last few months, I've been working closely with a student of mine to prove out this strategy in full and document each of the steps. And this student has actually built a page to over 100,000 followers and made over $10,000 without ever having to show his face or spend a penny on ads. And everything that has been documented is now in an organized format as a concise, step-by-step, simple 10-lesson course called Faceless Content Mastery. And just yesterday, as I'm making this, I did the pre-launch for my VIP list, and they absolutely crushed it. Already over 100 enrollments. And now it's launched officially at the lowest price it'll ever be at. So if you're interested, there will be a link in the description that takes you to the landing page that has all the information and about what each of the lessons is. So if you watch this YouTube video and you're like, Tanner, I want about 10 times more of that value, then that's going to be for you. And step number 6, now we have to know how to post. We talked about what to post and what the objective should be, but how do we actually post and put something together? So that's what we're going to focus on right now. First things first, we need to grab our hook, the objective, and the main audience, which we know. The hook, why some women hesitate to embrace their femme fatale side. The objective, to trigger the viewers. And the main audience we know is our doubters. So now what we can do is complete the script. And this part is usually the easiest, honestly, especially with value posts, because when you're doing a value post that has a hook like 5 ways to do X, it's just really easy to find the value. And really with any post, because the hardest part is actually choosing the objective and coming up with the actual hook. Now we just have to do some research. So let's say we're going to make a slideshow on TikTok with this example hook. The first slide script is already done. That's the hook. So now let's just add 4 more points that tie on. So we have the hook here, why some women blank. We now need to explain what are the reasons, like why some women blank. And the main places to learn about your niche and do research about a hook that you've created is by using Google. I love Google. There's a lot of good articles and all these different pain point niches, social media pages in the niche, and of course, ChatGPT can compile some information for you. So I said right here, I'm creating a slideshow based on that hook, explain in 4 separate sentences why blank blank blank. And here it gives me 4 different sentences, and it gives a good foundation. But in all reality, they need to be shortened a ton and they need to angle more towards the trigger viewers. So instead of saying in number 2, this hesitation can stem from a fear of blank, I could rephrase it to be conservative women are afraid that blank, blank, blank. Because remember, we know our objective is to trigger the viewers. We know that the main audience is going to be doubters, which could also be classified as conservative women in this niche. So now I could just rephrase this and make it again an absolute statement because we're trying to trigger, not relate. Number 2 right now, based on ChatGPT, this hesitation can stem from a fear of judgment or the misconception, is just being too soft, too nice. But remember, when someone's watching a social media post like this, they're thinking what's in it for them. They're scrolling through and they're giving us their attention. So we need to continue to captivate that. So the hook generates curiosity. It's not super aggressive, but now the content is going to trigger. And what you want to do is write the scripts for each of the slides before moving on. And based upon these sentences here, all of them are way too long. Usually we'll do less than 10 words for a single sentence on a slide. And just as a little by the way here, as you continue to post and make scripts, you'll learn more about your viewers and your niche, which will then result in you not having to do as much research on every single post. And remember, the script is more important than the background content. But since we now have a script, we can make the background content for our slideshow. And to do this, you'll be using Midjourney again, like we did to create our profile picture. And each slide pretty much just has to relate to the emotion that's in the text. So if I have a slide in my script that's about something sad, I'm not going to generate an image of someone smiling. So based upon this hook, here's a prompt that I would use. It said, femme fatale woman, looking in my eyes, open room with dark seductive colors, white light shining on her, comma scene, comma AR 916. AR just stands for aspect ratio. So the main thing I did differently from the profile picture prompt in this one is that I just added this aspect ratio prompt. So you want to do this for your slides because then it'll fit the entire mobile format for TikTok. And when I did this prompt, I got these results right here. And I was like, dang, this is actually working out perfect. And honestly, I like this first one the best right here. It fits definitely very, very well with the hook. And, I'm just imagining already the text going over it. So the next step really is just piecing everything together. So here is what the structure looks like for making a post. You choose an objective, you write the hook, you complete the script, and then you're going to generate each image for each line of the script. And once you have all of that, in this case, we would have 5 slides. Then we would add all those images on TikTok as a slideshow, and then we're going to add TikTok native text. I don't like to add text over the slides first and then add it to TikTok. I like to add the images on TikTok, and then in the editor, I'll add the TikTok native text on there. It relates more, and it fits into what people are used to seeing. And if you're a beginner, this is the absolute best thing you could do. And once I've added all of the script to the images on the slideshows, now I need to add a viral sound. Usually what I'll do is look at other accounts in my niche and see what type of sounds are, going viral that they're using, and I'll save it and put it on mine. And once I have a sound, I'm going to add a short title, basically a description like the top line, and then 3 hashtags related to the niche. You want to keep your post clean, simple, you have an objective, and then it's ready to post. And once you've completed that first post, you've gotten over the biggest hurdle and you're ahead of 99% of others. And the more you do this, the easier it's going to become. And you're essentially just building this streamlined system so you can continue to make posts about the different objectives and figure out what those things are. So then we can get into the next part, which is product research. Now, when most people think of product research, they think about going on AliExpress or going to some website and looking around. But I want to tell you how you could do product research with this strategy using your own page. So again, when you start doing these posts every day, you'll have posts that some that just get more attention than others. 10K views, 1,000 views. And when that happens, you want to recreate the post that went viral and try to do it even better while still posting new content about all of the objectives I showed in an earlier step. Because the very first thing you're doing is learning the objectives from step 4 about your audience. And the second thing you're doing is building a community. Faceless brands using this strategy are built off of community and value, and that has to be done consistently, not one post today and another one in 4 days. No, it doesn't work like that. So, yes, I mean, this is not as quick as pressing a few buttons on ads, but if you aren't going to spend money on ads, you're going to have to spend more time here. But there's something about this that I like way more than running ads because most people kind of just get stuck in this loop and this cycle with ads and they lose money. But the best part about this strategy is that you're spending time scripting, and all this time you're spending is teaching you all the skills and the information about your audience so that when you do eventually run ads, it makes the process much easier. And my favorite model for scaling a business is the hybrid model: organic content strategy plus paid ads. So, how do you monetize and when? The answer, of course, is with digital products, like we've talked about in this entire series so far. And with a faceless content page, you should only do this when you know all of the objectives from step 4 and have some viral videos. And by the time this happens, you should have over 5,000 followers. And the first part to monetizing this page is product research. Now, the way to do this is think this way: every value post you've made is essentially a product research test. Because if I say, here's 5 ways to do this, here's 3 strategies to do this, if one of those goes viral about a certain topic in your niche, I pretty much know now that, okay, this is a potential product idea. So you can just go after you reach the 5,000 followers, you learn the objectives, go through your value posts, see the viral ones, and gather product ideas from those, write them down. And then for the top ones that you see, write out 10 new scripts with related value and start posting them as a test. So after you have done this, you're going to have made a lot of different posts, value, essentially testing product ideas indirectly. You're going to have, less than 5 specific pieces of value related to your niche that can then be used as digital product ideas. So let's say I do this for the femme fatale niche for women that want to seduce men, and I do all of these different value posts, but I've noticed that the trend really all boils down to the fact that these viewers want to really, really figure out how to become a femme fatale. So what are the value propositions of this? I mean, it could be based upon the value posts I see I've already made. It's learn how to make a man become obsessed with you, learn the secrets to becoming alluring, become the woman you've always wanted to be. These are value propositions. And if this is my product idea here, how to become a femme fatale, it fits the page, it fits the niche, it fits the post that I've been making. How do we make the name better? Because if we just sell a book and say, hey, get our How to Become a Femme Fatale ebook for $30 right now, that's not going to work out. So we can actually test out the name with our audience again. Like, I know this sounds like a lot, like a bit of a spider web, but just think of your organic account after you've gone through all of this posting and you kind of have a system for it, you're doing it consistently, like that's pretty easy for you. But now you can think of this as a resource to test. It's like a free testing source. Instead of spending money on ads to test things, you can use your own page and just incorporate what you're already doing, making posts with, a certain strategy, like figuring out a product or now a name. So if I have a product idea name of How to Become a Femme Fatale, I can create hooks to value scripts that are just spin-offs of this original name idea, and then just see again which one resonates the most with people who are my supporters and buyers. So instead of having a hook on a value post that says How to Become a Femme Fatale, it could be the 3 secrets to becoming a femme fatale. And if that does well as a hook, okay, that could do well as a product name. And now let's just say you've done all of this, you're ready to start actually selling. How do call to actions work? This is a very, very important part. I know this is something you've been looking forward to, and let's talk about it. Because you can't just go on your page, say link in bio, go get this ebook now for $30. We have to take a step back and really understand where our viewers are at. When someone sees an ad, they know it's an ad on whatever platform it is. When someone steps into a store, they know they're shopping. When someone watches an organic post, they're thinking in their head, what's in it for me? So we have to take an approach of making our viewers want to buy instead of us asking them to buy. And the formula to do this is just by creating desire and need to the point where they're willing to open their wallet and pay for a convenient solution. So this formula is just pain points plus value equals desire and need. So when you're writing scripts for selling posts, it's essentially a value post, but it's going to be structured in a little bit of a different way. And the way you want to frame it is by telling the viewers what worked for you from that perspective. And not that you want them to buy your product. You know, you could spin this a million different ways, but one way is to write a script in the format of a story. A story just has, a premise, has the journey, the realizations, and then the solution. What actually happens in the end, and how did that happen? And only then is when you can introduce call to actions, to the end of these stories. So it could be like, that's exactly why I wrote this book. Introduce it, and then you state the benefit. Because this works so great for me, I wanted to put the puzzle together, and that's when blank product came out. Benefit. Remember, also in selling, benefits are more important than features. We touch on this a lot more in Faceless Content Mastery, but a feature would be saying this pin has a clickable button on the top. A feature would be you could write so much with this pin, it could fill up an entire notebook. That's going to intrigue a buyer much more than just a button. Every pin has a button, but if this pin could fill up a whole notebook just with one, hell yeah, I want that pin. So in this example, it's structured as someone telling a story who went through what the actual potential buyers would be going through and how they solved it. And when you introduce a call to action, instead of saying, go to link in my bio, get it for $30, you show it. You can do a screenshot of your profile. You can add a visual that highlights your link in bio and then add a text that creates an analogy of the pricing. So instead of saying the price, you want to instead create curiosity that will get someone to go to the website and figure out the price. Because if they go to the website, they've made a little bit of a commitment, at least to the point where, they're much more to becoming a buyer than someone that never went to the website. And that is the Faceless Content Mastery strategy in a nutshell. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a big like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.